The Tiger?
Yeah, it's called Tiger.
Four-wheel drive?
Yep, they'll put it on a Chevy, they'll put it on a Ford or a Dodge. What we're doing right now is we just ran the 12-volt wire from the winter refrigerator underneath the floor across the bottom of the chassis, and we came back out, or came back in the battery bank, and now I'm gonna wire this. It came with a plug, and we don't want to use these cigarette lighter plugs because when you're driving down the road and they jostle a little bit, they get loose, and what creates heat is a bad connection, and they get loose over time and create heat, and they just aren't that efficient or good or solid of a setup. So what we're going to do is hardwire it into the battery bank, and what I'm doing right now is taking this apart so I can see what the fuse was rated for, and then I'm going to put an inline fuse. It looks like 25 amps, 25 amp fuse, and we're going to put it in this fuse holder that Mike picked up ahead of time in anticipation of the job. And then we've got our wire that we ran from the refrigerator here. We're going to strip it back. One side is red and one side's black, so we know which one's positive and which one's negative. We're going to put the 25 amp fuse inline fuse holder. This gets cut in line, put the fuse in, and then this goes with another terminal onto the positive on here. So positive, positive, negative, negative. We go a wire positive, positive, negative, negative. And that's how you wire in parallel. That means it'll remain 12 volts. If we did it from positive to negative and positive to negative, that would double the voltage to 24 volts.
And just for anybody that's looking to put these exact batteries in this exact van, it did take a little massaging. We got them in there, but
by massaging, there's the 3-pound hammer.
Yeah,
there's a sledgehammer around here somewhere.
I mean, we really didn't do any harm.
No,
it for anybody thinking they're just going to drop right in easily, it's you know, it's going to take a little massaging.
In our case, it did.
Mm-hmm.
Your case,
true.
Lucky.
Every application may be a little different. Maybe you'll have a little more room, but
yeah. So anyway, there
so that's
you
what
can
we have
see,
so far.
Yeah, you can see the red and black. I'll clip this and go onto the red, put our 25 amp fuse in, put a terminal on that'll fit on the red over here, and he will have continuous power. And in the case that he for some reason doesn't have continuous power, he would just come check this fuse, and that'd be the first thing that he would check. Also, by the way we're wiring this, we're hardwiring it into the battery bank, but he still he'll never do this, but he still has the ability to pull this out at the hotel room that doesn't have a refrigerator that he's going to be at for a day or two, and move his fridge into the hotel and plug it in and get the AC, and it'll still run. So he can do either one with this winter refrigerator. They're pretty good for what you get for the price.
Larry is we're going to run an extension cord from the inverter, which is going to be right here, and run an extension cord all underneath here. There's a duct that from the factory, and he's going to plug that wire into the outlet there. He's going to put in another outlet. We'll have a dual plug with a dual USB, if you can see that there. That way that'll be plugged right into the inverter right here. That plug will be right there. Mainly so I can plug in a fan that I like to sleep with at night for white noise and a little comfort, and I'll be able to plug my phones and what have you right there straight off the inverter instead of using the other house outlets. So that's just an update on that. Alright, I got an Amazon package that for 10 gauge wire so we can hook the panels together and stuff, so I need to get going and go get that, so don't hold these guys up.
Oh, I'm going from one positive to the other positive because that's how you,
what do you think that
wire batteries in what?
Is that what that is?
Parallel, positive to positive parallel, positive to negative is series doubles, because serial killers kill a lot of people, so it's more. So
That'll
This
make
is-
it easy to remember.
This is how I cut it. And that way in the future, if you need to replace an end, which you're not going to have to because I'm the guy doing the ends, but you've got a little bit of wiggle room to work with. And so it's always nice when you're making stuff from scratch like this that you think about the next guy. So we're going to think about the next guy and we're going to give him a little bit of room in case he needs it for some reason.
And just a little update here. We got the inverter in. Looking nice there on the wall. We got the extension cord ran all the way back to that outlet right down there. Looks factory install. Then we have the charge controller up here in the original space where the old one was. And we got the supervisor here, Savannah, sitting here on the bed, supervising everything, making sure everything goes right.
But you got to remember one thing.
Wait. I really like it with the pinches to the sides aesthetically. All right, thank you.
What does he have to
Just remember one thing.
What's that?
The boss gets to talk. Just remember that, all right? You're the boss today, so you get to talk, but I'm just saying.
The crimpers over to Brian so we can keep the job moving?
Yeah. I am pushing.
Oh, don't pull it back.
I ain't.
Push and twist.
push
Can you
and
push
twist?
and twist from that? There we go. I got it.
Wait, no, I'm sorry, it's wrong. Don't pull it back. It's curved. It's just curved.
Okay, we'll get her.
I think I can get
Did
it.
you try this wire through that hole down there and make sure it was big? The hole was
Whoa,
big.
almost. Hold up. There you go.
Got it.
I got the reel. They ain't gonna hit you in the head this time.
We are going to go into the inside. We've got the wires almost all tied together on the outside. We're using the proprietary MC4 connections. I say proprietary because MC4 is probably a name brand. That doesn't mean they're specific to a certain brand of panels. It's just a quick connect for wires. Let's say that you've got some 10-aught wire and you don't have these fancy bulky MC4 connectors. Can you do it, or do you have to order them? Of course you can do it. You just butt splice them together and shrink wrap it. If you don't have shrink wrap, butt splice it together, solder it, and go around it with some electric tape. The more expensive the electric tape, the better. I prefer 3M, something like that, DuPont, whatever. I just wouldn't get the 5 rolls for $3 one. I'd get the 1 roll for $5 one. And so you can cut this, expose it, butt splice it. If you don't know what a butt splice is, just type in butt splice. You could solder it for good measure, use a little bit of flux. I like no corrode flux. But we've got MC4 connections. So we're going to use our MC4 connections. We're going to cut this cable before we go inside because we don't want to, in my case, we've got to cut it anyway, and I don't want to drill a hole as big as the MC4. I just want to drill a hole as big as the cable. So I'm going to go inside, find out where my holes are. If I do 2 holes the size of that diameter cable, there'll be less surface area to have to caulk and worry about any kind of leak. We're going to caulk it, put a box on top of it, butyl tape that, and then caulk around that. So by the time we're done, this thing doesn't have a chance to leak whatsoever. So we did 2 holes. Now when Larry comes back, he can tie all that stuff in and put the 2 wires in and start wiring up the solar controller through. He knows what he has to do. He's an electrician.